From the Space Symposium in Colorado Springs, GMCstream is proud to bring you this conversation with Tadros of Space Systems Loral, a leading provider of innovative satellite and spacecraft systems. SSL is a subsidiary of McDonnell Detweiler & Associates Limited and a global communication and information company.
Al, thanks very much for joining us. And of course, I'll ask a couple questions.
Sure.
The first one I have is, can you tell us a little bit about your background and experiences in the satellite industry?
Sure. Happy to do that. So I've been in the satellite industry for 27 years. Started out as a dynamics and controls analysis engineer, working on a number of geostationary satellites as well as LEO satellites. Did some R&D work on robotics for the space station Freedom, which was the precursor to the International Space Station. So for many years I was an engineer and then worked on a few programs that were not communication satellites but meteorological satellites for the US government as well as for Japanese government. And then transitioned into business development, where I've been working with US government agencies and solving mission solutions with our capabilities at Space Systems Loral. So it's been a diverse set of jobs that I've had.
Well, I think that diversity shows your intellect and also your enthusiasm, for this industry. It's pretty clear.
Definitely, there's a lot of really interesting technologies, and then mixing them together to solve problems is really exciting.
Well, currently, I'm going to ask the question. What is your future space-related programs with the U.S. government and NASA?
Sure. So, Space Systems Loral is working more and more with U.S. government agencies, and we're expecting to grow that part of the business significantly. We've been fortunate to win some NASA programs recently. One is an exciting exploration mission to an asteroid in the main asteroid belt called Psyche. This is unique in science in that it's an all-metal asteroid, 210 kilometers. So the scientists believe that it could be the core of a planet that had its crust stripped off. So we're able to partner with JPL and get their science instruments out to the asteroid to better understand how that asteroid formed, and helps us understand more about how our planet formed as well. So that's one mission that we've won recently. Another one has been in the satellite servicing arena from NASA Goddard, and that's called Restore-L. So that uses robotics and to refuel a low Earth orbiting satellite. And that's just one demonstration of many that can be done with satellite servicing that we expect will be part of future architectures. We've also won some work from NASA with regards to in-orbit assembly. This relates our robotics work with our commercial geocommunication satellites to try to improve the way that geocommunication satellites are both built and deployed, but also maintained to keep strong business for our customers going. So we've done a variety of government programs in that light. We've won recently a program with DARPA called Robotic Servicing of Geostationary Satellites, or RSGS. And that's another type of mission that we expect to be not only building but also the servicing of geostationary satellites we expect to be doing going forward. So there are a number of capabilities that we can apply to government missions along those lines, and others that we expect to be doing going forward.
Great. Well, I was just rather curious. What is that asteroid? What's the core? Do you know what it's made out of? Or?
Sure. Of course, no one's been to it yet, but the scientists can use instruments from the Earth and from Earth orbit to see and do analysis, spectral analysis. And they believe it's made of nickel and iron, an iron-nickel mix, which is representative of what they believe planetary cores are. But how much nickel is on the surface versus internal, and what's the constituency of the surface will help them determine, did it form like a planet they expect planets to form, or did it form differently? So, and does it have a magnetic field? So what it's constructed of, and then other characteristics of it will help them understand how did it come about, how was it formed.
Well, it's really exciting. Here's a kind of thing I was thinking about is about this. You mentioned robotics in the intro, and this thing about robotic servicing of geosynchronous satellites, the RSGS program. Can you elaborate on that? Tell us a little bit about that one.
Sure. This is a wonderful program that DARPA set out to implement. DARPA is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, and they typically bite off really hard problems to do. So satellites for decades now have been built and deployed in geostationary orbit where they're really unreachable. If there's a problem or if you want to upgrade them or modify them, it's been really not possible. With RSGS, what DARPA wants to do is motivate capability to actually service satellites in geostationary orbit, not for the purpose of servicing satellites as much as for the purpose of enabling new architectures, satellites that can be serviced and can have a servicing vehicle up there, and then what missions can be enabled by that, or what military capability can be enabled, or exploration capability. Those kind of things are really crucial, and RSGS is an enabler. So it's a public-private partnership. SSL is contributing to the program on about a 50-50 basis. DARPA is building the payload and providing a launch vehicle. We're providing the spacecraft bus and integration of the payload to the bus and the operations of the vehicle. And then SSL is wrapping a business around it where we're identifying clients, doing the servicing of those client vehicles, and expecting that that'll become an ongoing business going forward. I think electric propulsion is going to take the next step. So we've been deploying electric propulsion systems for more than 15 years now on geostationary satellites. And the true benefit of electric propulsion in exploration, in tugging, in servicing is coming about. And I think that's going to be a very exciting capability. Autonomy and robotics is another area. Right now it's very few people that actually do space robotics or in-orbit rendezvous proximity operations. And I think there's a number of people now that are looking at very high-performance sensors and implementing robotics in order to conduct things like the satellite servicing mission we talked about earlier.
Wow. You're getting me very excited, truly speaking. So anyway, let's talk about risk.
Sure.
Of course, if you're in space, there's a lot of risk, and that you face. What are you facing in satellite manufacturing and launching?
Sure. Yeah, space is a number of technologies that are in play just to address risk, and the risk is coming from different directions. There's a high radiation environment. There's extreme temperatures. There's a vacuum. There's the launch itself, which has even a successful launch. It has high vibration, acoustics, rapid change in pressure because of going in from one atmosphere to a vacuum. There's a whole variety of things that we have to consider. But those are engineering challenges that we take on, and all our missions have to address them. So we know the environments, we document our processes in addressing them. We do the engineering that's required for achieving the mission life and the mission performance. Many of our satellites in geostationary orbit go well beyond the 15-year life of the satellites. So it's an exciting part of the excitement of building space systems is basically overcoming extreme natural challenges that you have to overcome in order to make the mission a success. That's all part of our engineering and ultimately, who we are and why we're leaders in our field.
Absolutely, leaders for a long time as well. And we're kind of coming to the final question. The final question I always ask is, do you have any other comments? Kind of a summation.
Sure. Well, it's a very exciting field. First of all, to your first question, I basically from entering high school, I wanted to be in aerospace, and it's exciting for many reasons, and one of them is that I can do a variety of jobs, technical and non-technical, in this field, and there's nothing more exciting than seeing a concept that you are working on with a team that gets implemented and launched and becomes a reality. It's one of the best experiences that anybody can hope for in engineering or in business. So that would be my summary.
Well, listen, it's really been a great experience for me. I'm sitting here and I'm getting excited. I want to go in space, but I don't think I'll be able to make it. But I want to thank you very much, Al, for taking time with GMC
Sure.
Stream.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.